Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Purls and Pyrs podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine on Ravelry, Instagram, Pinterest, and joining me is my co-host, Hubble, who took over my seat. So we're going to just sit on the footstool and we'll see how this goes. Thank you so much for joining me, new or returning viewers. It's been a little bit, but I wanted to record the second half of my 12 cast-ons because I did finish casting on all 12 things, 12 being a loose designation because I actually picked a couple of things where it's going to be more than one project, but the theme is the same. So my last episode before the Rhinebeck recap, which I had on my camera for, since October. But I was like, hey, I'm just going to put it up because I wanted the space on my phone and I wanted to start knitting with the yarn. And yeah, so I figured I'd just go ahead and share it. My editing software is completely not working. I haven't had time to really look at another software. I think that Gabby suggested one for me that Adrian uses of the Barrows and Whites podcast, but I just haven't had a chance to download it because we switched to having Linux on one of our machines when Microsoft decided that they were going to not support operating systems that couldn't run on older machines, and the machine we have is not powerful enough to run Windows 11. I think it's Windows 11. So it was either we just stopped using that machine, which seemed wasteful and stupid, or we did something else. So we were running Linux on it now. I'm throwing yarn on the ground. So I have to learn a new operating system and all the things that go with that. It's fine, but like installing programs is a little bit different. So I just haven't had time yet. I'm also going to, I think, switch to Vivaldi, which is a browser that doesn't have embedded AI in it, because it seems like every browser out there is pushing for people to use their embedded AI, and even like doing the space minus AI is still, I don't believe that things aren't, tracking data and using it regardless of whether I'm trying not to interact with AI or not. So, that's another thing I have on my list to do. Oh, gosh. It's Another Artist. That's the name of that editing software. But anyway, what I did for the last 2 episodes is I just uploaded them to YouTube, and I used the editing software in YouTube Studio, which is fine for just basic like cuts and stuff, but I can't add music or anything like that. I probably could, but I haven't figured out how. But that's what I'm doing for right now. So sorry, it's going to be a little bit more bare bones, but whatever. I've never been like a super flashy podcast anyway. Sorry, I'd take a sip of my coffee, and I can't edit it out now, so I have to pause. Other 6 of my 12 cast-ons. And for those who don't know, the 12 cast-ons is a year-long knit-along hosted by Angela. Sorry, there's something stuck on my bag. Hosted by Angela of the Yarn and Yarns podcast. She's hosted it every year for a while now. I've done it for maybe the last 4 years, I think. Because I think I had some from 2021. Yeah, I think it was the year after the pandemic, maybe, that I started doing it. I don't know if she did it before then, or if that's maybe the first year she started it, but regardless, I've done it for quite a while along with her. And it's where you cast on 12 things, or 12-ish things, to set you up for your year's worth of making between the dates of Christmas Eve and the end of January. So I finished casting on my 12th thing. It was close to the end of January. So my 7th thing was the Christmas bell sweater. Okay, and it is in this bag, but it probably isn't going to stay in this bag because it's kind of too full of yarn. This is a bag from Nerdbird Makery. I'm not sure if she still even makes bags, but I got it at India Untangled many years ago when they were still doing India Untangled in like the theater at Saugerties. So for those who've been going for a long time, you'll remember the theater. And I got some t-shirts from her at the same time. So I'm using this Debbie Bliss Fine Donegal yarn, which is a discontinued yarn, in this light blue. It's a tweed, so it has some tweedy navy blue. I think there's some purple and some white flecks in there. It's pretty subtle tweed. And then the other tweed I'm doing for the contrast color is this navy blue, which has fur all over it. I'm sorry. Navy blue with like red and dark blue, but they still kind of pop against the navy and turquoise neps. So I have not worked on this one very much since the cast on. I think this is basically everything I finished on the first day I worked on it. I do want to get back to it, but I was kind of working on my DRK Everyday sweater because that one I thought I was going to need more yarn, and I was actively trying to get yarn from people. Now I think I will have too much yarn. I'm sure I will have too much yarn. But basically there was a woman who had one ball of yarn in the red, and then there was another woman who had 6 balls of yarn also in the red, but she said she didn't want to just sell me one because then she wouldn't have enough to do anything with it. So she's like, would you be willing to buy all 6? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So I'll probably just make, I'll make something for Megs because I think it would make a cute like crop sweater too. And I don't think I'm going to need any of that woman's yarn. I sent Deborah an email and I'm like, funnily enough, I don't think I'm going to need any of the yarn you're sending me, but whatever. Now I know for sure I'll have enough. So this is basically all I've done. So you can see there's short row shaping in the back of the neck. It's basically a top-down colorwork yoke sweater. The colorwork kind of looks like ornaments. That's the name, Christmas bell. But they're not bells. It's bell like B-E-L-L-E. And that is a Progress Keeper from Not Charmed and Dangerous. The name escapes me. Sorry. But it's a birthday cake. So anyway, I like it so far. This yarn is gorgeous to knit with. I have enough for 2 more sweaters. So I got a pink and an orange in the tweed. So, and I got sweater quantities in both. This was in the 70% off bin at my local yarn store, Wool Gathering. So I got it for a very good deal. And yeah, I'm excited that I have enough for 2 more sweaters. Oh, and I have 1 ball of yellow because I was thinking the gold and orange together would be good. I wish I had got more, to be honest. Like, it's really nice. It's a non-superwash, so I think it's going to make great color work and be very cozy, but it's that like light kind of crisp feeling. It's not itchy at all. Yeah, it's just really nice. It's a very nice yarn. So anyway, it's funny, Ange said she wishes she had more of that yarn too, that she remembers carrying it in her shop. And it's sad that it was discontinued. And I very much agree. So anyway, this is basically all stuffed in this tiny, tiny bag till I find a bigger bag. This one I normally use for like hats or socks. Or something where I don't have quite so much yarn going at once. Okay, so that was Christmas Bell. Then number 8, I chose to do the High Desert Socks by Lindsay Fowler. I'm going to make multiples of these, and I'm pretty sure I need to rip these back because I don't think I knit the socks the same length. Yeah, I think my gauge changed on the second one because it just looks slightly shorter and slightly smaller on the foot. So I think I'm going to rip back the toe, make them a little bit longer, and then put the toe back in. But they are DK weight socks, so basically maybe worsted weight, I don't know. You're holding fingering weight double. And my thought was I'm going to make as many of these as I feel like I have patience for. I've already made one pair. That's where it started from because I finished that before the 12 cast-ons time was done. And I was like, well, that sucks. Now I've finished 2 out of my 12 projects because I finished the No Worries hat the same day I cast it on because it's a bulky weight hat. So I was like, I'm just going to make a bunch of scrappy socks. And I'll make some for me, some for my husband because he wants another pair. And then for my son so he can go use them for like when they do camping outside. And then I might do some like for charity. I don't know. But I'm going to knit them till I am irritated with knitting them. Yeah, I definitely need to knit that second foot bigger. It's crazy. But I do want to wash and block them because they're pretty tight and I think they may loosen up some with a wash and block. So what I did is I had a skein of Bad Wolf Girl Studios in this bright orange, and then I used minis that have orange in them for the other strand. And I just kept changing out so they don't exactly match, but they're pretty close. So I finished those, sort of. They're going to have to probably be ripped back. Then I cast on for another one. This one is with Fool's Gold from... God, why can I not remember anything today? That one's going to bug me. Hang on. Hedgehog Fibers. It's from Hedgehog Fibers. The Fool's Gold colorway looks like this. So it's a very super speckly gold base. And then I'm holding it double with Bowline Vine yarns in the Harpsichord colorway, which is just a plain gold. And then this was Life in the Long Grass. I think Cushion was the name of this colorway. I used it for a sweater that I ended up giving away to my friend Jen. So I just did one stripe just at the top. I am at the heel right now and I'm trying to decide if I want to do more Life in the Long Grass or if I just want to make them be yellow and maybe just do this colorway for the toe. I don't know, or maybe just have one little stripe because I don't have a very big mini there of that. But the Fool's Gold was left over from another project, but I had a lot left over. So I thought this would be a good way to do it because I kind of feel like Hedgehog Fibers is a little splitty as a sock yarn. It's really thin and a little bit splitty. I love her colors, but I kind of don't love the base that she uses or used. This is a pretty old skein, so it's possible that she's changed bases at this point. But I've made socks out of just the Hedgehog Fibers yarn in Birthday Cake, and I don't know, those socks just feel like tighter and not as like stretchy. So I just thought it would be nice if I knit it double with something else. They don't have holes in them though, so maybe there's something to be said for this base. But it is very splitty. And it also has a birthday cake on it, but it is like rainbow colored, like a pride cake. So yeah, and I think I'll make a pair for Josh next because yeah, I might use some Patton's Croix with something else for his, maybe with some West Yorkshire spinners. I was kind of thinking this green with some Patton's Croix would be good. Some nice strong socks for him. And I could use various scrappy greens. We'll see. All right, and then number 9, I cast on the Arachne sweater. So this one has been on my list that I wanted to knit for a really long time, but the designer took down all of her patterns from Ravelry and moved to only Patreon. She did make them all size inclusive on Patreon, and she's slowly releasing her catalog, but she's doing it by having people vote on which ones that they want her to redo. And you know, the other ones just aren't available because she said that she didn't want to leave things up that weren't size inclusive. So she's kind of letting the audience decide. Oh, see, I did it. I drank without pausing. Letting the audience decide which ones that they want to bring back. So Arachne was one that I wanted to knit before she took all of her designs down, and I did not buy any of the patterns. So I'm now in the Patreon. You do get access to all of the designs she's redone on Patreon. She also just redid Chuck, which I've wanted to knit for years. So that one's definitely going to go on the needles this year. I have some old Mad Tosh that was from my Aunt Lynn's stash that I got when she passed away. So I think that's going to make a nice Chuck sweater. But anyway, so the Arachne, I'm using this real fluffy yarn, and I looked it up. It's on my project page on Ravelry, but I think it's a Lana Grossa, maybe? It's got like silver sparkles, and it's very floofy, like real floofy. I think it's part acrylic. But again, I got this in... I think I got it from my Aunt Lynn's stash. And I'm working it with the main color of Rumor from Lavender Loon Yarn Company. So it's this one. It's like a very mauvey pink. I am running into some issues because of the acrylic and using that on the color work. It's not stretchy, so I'm having to be really careful with my floats, and I'm still a little bit concerned that I may have made my floats too tight, but I'm trying my best here. So this is what it looks like, and it is doing what I expected it to do, which I thought that would make it look a little more like an actual web, having it's just like floaty fuzzy yarn with the sparkles. The one thing I'll say about the design is it does not have any short row shaping in the neckline, and I think it's so that you could get right into that spiderweb design, which is kind of showing up better from back here than up closer. But I think that's going to be an issue. So I'm going to add short row shaping, and I watched a podcast of, I think it's the Technical Knitter or something is her name, but she goes through like, you know, knitting techniques and all of the math behind it. So she had a whole one on adding short row shaping above or below yoke. So I'm going to do the after the color work part, like right before I separate for the sleeves. I'm going to do my short row shaping there, and I will let you know how it goes. But I'm not going to get back to this sweater until I finish the stripy DRK everyday sweater, because I'm really close, and I will show it to you guys after I finish showing you the rest of my cast-ons. So yeah, that's the Arachne sweater with Lavender Loon Yarn Co. and this random fuzzy acrylic commercial yarn. It's acrylic and wool, I think. And it's okay. I think now that I've got the hang of it, it seems like it's going okay for the floats. So really I'm just worried about if it's tight like right here, but maybe that's okay too, because this is my last unicorn sweater and I kind of don't love the shaping. I think it's like, it does this. I can't get it to be straight. It's very puckery. I think that the shaping for here is too much too quickly. So you have all this excess fabric. Like I could have got rid of all of those increases. And this part is fine, but this part just does not lay flat no matter what I do. So it's kind of more of an around the house sweater. I don't wear it out a lot because I don't like that. Doesn't look nice. Okay, then the 10th cast on was actually a cross stitch project because you don't have to make it be knitting. So for this one, I'm doing the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Halloween Wreath Stitch Along. This was from a few years ago, and basically the idea is that you were getting a clue a month. You start in the center, and then you work around the wreath, and then you make it into a pillow. And it was supposed to be that it's ready for Halloween. I started mine later because I obviously started it for this, but yeah, I thought it'd be nice to do a little bit of cross stitch because I have several kits and it's not the craft that I go to anymore. I learned to cross stitch when I was really young from my mom, and that was kind of my only craft that I did until I learned to knit. And I didn't learn to knit until I was in my 20s. So anyway, so I've started the middle, which is a little haunted house that fills up the center of the wreath. There's a matching Christmas wreath one that has a little house with a chimney and like Santa's boots are sticking out of it. So I'm going to do the Halloween first, and then maybe next year I'll do the Christmas one. If I finish this one, which I might not. But that's what I have so far. I only worked on it one day. And then the next day I went to work on it, and my end kept slipping out when I was trying to add a new color. So I was like, screw it, this is making me mad. So I put it away. But that is my Halloween cross stitch wreath. And my delightful Hubble chewed a hole in it when he was a baby peg. I need to put like, I was going to put a little heart patch or something on there to just cover that up. Because I do like that bag, and it makes me mad that you chewed a hole in it, Hubble. He chewed a hole in many of my project bags when he was a wee baby. He's a good boy now. He doesn't do that, but like this one. This was a really nice bag that I won from Mina Phillips' podcast with like hand woven fabric. Very frustrating. And that one is a lot more holes, so I can't just put like one patch. It's pretty much destroyed. Whatever. I use it still. Then cast on number 11 was the Cima Tempestosa, which means Wuthering Heights, by Knitting for Breakfast. This one I cast on out of Flies and Hellhounds in the Love Pyramus colorway, which was in the bookish box that when she was doing book boxes for red, white, and royal blue. There was one of each color. Dear Thisbe Love Pyramus, and then I got a second Love Pyramus in her Blind Date skeins. So I was like, sweet, now I can make something with it. And then this also was Blind Date skeins. I got 2 skeins of Emeraldite on her Fig Lace base. So I'm holding those double, and this is what it looks like. It's a really nice color. I would be further along on this, but I think there's an error in the chart, and I don't know what to do with it because there's no errata, and nobody said there was a problem with it. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it's saying to increase, but then the next row in the chart isn't showing that there's an extra stitch in the chart repeat. So I'm like, how the heck is that going to work out? You're going to end up with more stitches at the end of this chart unless I'm reading it completely wrong. And I tried to read it multiple times. I went and looked at everybody's project. Nobody mentions it. So I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. unless, oh, and I went to go try to download it again to see if there was a new version published. Nope, this is the only one. So anyway, it is an all over lace yoke, top down. I don't think I'm gonna have enough to do long sleeves, but I'm hoping I can do to, like, you know, the elbow, maybe. I'll go as long as I can. So that's what the lace looks like. And they continue the lace onto the sleeve. So they have a little break, and then they do it along the end of the sleeve before the ribbing. And that's also the same on the hem, but I think I'm gonna omit the hem lace and just do it straight down. I think that'll help, because then I can do waist shaping and then maybe have, I don't know, some extra yarn for more sleevage. So anyway, yeah, I'm on row 3 of the chart. And there's a yarn over that looks like, okay, that's not gonna do it here. I think I just need to do it and work it and then see where it takes me. Maybe I just need to trust the process. And it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Of course, now Hubble moves and I'm perched on this stupid footstool. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Okay. And my last one I called the Leftovers Box Challenge. Angela's doing something similar, where basically she has a bunch of leftovers from yarn, or leftover yarn from projects that she's gonna just make into things. And I have so many leftovers from all kinds of stuff that I would like to make into projects. So I think some of the things I want to do is, there is a pattern from where we once knitted that's like a cardigan, and it has stripes of a fingering weight yarn and stripes of a mohair. And I got a bag full of just scraps of mohair from Gabby. She was selling just like all these leftovers of mohair together. And so I think I'm going to make that striped sweater and use like a gray or I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking a gray or like a maroon color, but the colors I have of the fig lace are gray, like that color green, like I just showed, a kind of purpley white, very dark charcoal, and a pink, I think, because I have leftovers from my previous yarn engagement sweater that I did. So I have to find something that goes with all of those. So I had thought maybe like a dark kind of purple, burgundy, maroon, or a gray. But then if I do a gray, I can't use the light gray. And if I use a charcoal, I can't use the charcoal. So I don't know. I feel like I need to bring another color in there, and I just haven't figured out which one to do. Maybe a purple. Or green. I don't know. I'm looking over there. I'm trying to decide. Let's see. Can I turn it out? Something up there. But these two bins are full of leftovers. Like full of leftovers. To the point where I can't put any more in there from projects. Because when I make a sweater, when I make a sweater, I need 3 skeins, but I end up with about 2/3 of the 3rd skein, or maybe half. Probably half makes more sense. Half of the 3rd skein, if it's fingering weight. So I have a lot of leftover fingering weight. I have really fingering weight's the most that I have, and some DK leftovers. So yeah, I'm thinking that Wool and Pine just put out 2 brioche patterns. One I have bought right away, which was a cardigan. Hearthlight, I think is the name of it. I don't know. But anyway, it's an all over brioche and it's meant to be scrappy. So it's meant to be that you hold fingering weight double throughout the pattern for both of the colors. So you get to do a lot of kind of marling and blending. So I think maybe I could do that for a bunch of scraps and maybe pick kind of one main color that could be the, I don't know, the main brioche, right? And then the background color of brioche, I could do some other theme of color, like I could do all blues or all pinks or something like that, and then just sort my scrappy stash that way just to get through some stuff. So I think those two are for surezies. And then the thing I actually cast on is a pair of mittens for Josh. They are out of this very mysterious yarn that basically all I know is that it's 100% wool. There was a stash dive with my mom's knitting group many years ago, and there was a bunch of just like leftovers stuffed in a bag that were all like wool leftovers. So this was one of the things in there. So I know it's not a full skein and I don't know how much it is. So I'm kind of going on vibes here, but it's kind of a cinnamony brown color. And it looks like it's a chunky weight. It's a little bit thicker than a worsted. So I'm making some thrummed mittens for him, and I'm using the Friesland mittens pattern, and I'm thinking if I run out of that yarn, they're just gonna be stripy. So I probably should be doing them 2 at a time because I don't know, you know, I want them to be matching scrappy, but I have some cream color that's kind of this same weight that I could use if it doesn't work out, so that I can make a full mitten. And I thought like I could do a big chunky stripe in the middle and maybe do the thumb in that color also. But the thrums I'm going to do in this kind of multicolor fiber I have that I started spinning with it. So I have one spindle full of it, but I didn't really enjoy spinning with it. It is 100% merino, and I think I won it from a podcast giveaway a long time ago. So it was when I first started spinning. And honestly, I think it was kind of beyond my spinning ability to do merino because it's not as long of a staple fiber as, you know, some of the heritage breed sheep. Yeah, so I thought, well, I can at least make some thrum mittens out of the rest of it. So basically all I've done so far is do the cuff. I did the increases that I need to do to get things started, and I'm at the line where I would add the first thrums. So I started making the thrums. I need to make 99 for each mitten because I'm making the large size, but the Friesland mitten pattern does go all the way from baby to adult men's large hands. So it's a pretty good value for the pattern. And it also has the 2 types of thumb configurations. So either the afterthought thumb, which would be like you put the thumb stitches on hold and they're kind of to the side, or the one that's more like the Norwegian one that's on the palm and you're doing the thumb gusset increases. So I'm doing the thumb gusset increases because I do feel like that's a little bit more natural of a configuration for your thumb, and these are going to be for him to use when he's doing the snowblower, and so he's going to have his hands like this. So makes sense to have that mitten configuration. So that's, you know, my first of the leftovers box challenge, and I'm gonna just try to make a lot of things with my leftovers this year and really try to be creative in what I do aside from the high desert socks that I'm gonna make however many of that I can handle. So that's all my 12 cast ons. Then, for a little status update on one of my 12 cast-ons, which was the DRK Everyday Sweater. So this is where I am. I am knitting this out of Ella, Stacy Charles. I guess that's it. It's a Stacy Charles, and I think the name of the yarn is Ella. So it is a 46% wool, 28% silk, 26% mohair. It's a really light yarn. It has, I think, a silk thread is what it feels like. And then the mohair and wool are kind of wrapped around that thread. So it's really fluffy. It's got a good halo, but the balls only have 89 yards per ball. And it's kind of a sport weight. So I got the gauge of a sport weight. So I have knit the whole body. Is that backwards? That's backwards. Oh, and it's so crackly because it is very staticky. I think because it's a non-superwash and there's so much silk and mohair content in it that like you can just, I can feel my hair right now is very staticky, and I usually can just like take the strands and just get them to attract to my hand. It's that staticky. I'm hoping that when I wash it, it's going to be a little bit better. It's also been very, very dry because of how cold it's been. So anyway, I did this maroon as the main color and a taupe as the contrast stripe. I made up the striping sequence loosely based on a different sweater that was a cardigan. The thought being that I only had 4 skeins of the taupe. I had 9 skeins of the red, and like I said, I got a 10th skein from a woman who actually bought it from the same shop as me. So it's definitely the same dye lot and everything. And then the other 6 are coming from New York, but I think I'm not going to need them. So right now I have 3 more balls. I have the one that I'm working off of right now for the sleeve, which this is how far I am on the sleeve. It's about to my elbow. So I have the one I'm working on actively on this, plus 3 more full skeins. And I think I'm going to be able to get the sleeve out of 2 balls of the red, which means I'd have 2 balls of the red left for the other sleeve. Totally fine. I might have to crack into 1 more skein for cuffs, but I really did only need 1 skein from this woman, not 6. But whatever, it's fine. Here we go. Do you see it? Do you see how it's like static electricing to my hand? It's like that. So yeah, I have knit it all the way down on the body. Like I said, I'm down to the elbow on the sleeve. And it's nice. I've tried it on. It fits very nicely. I added waist shaping to it. I lengthened it a lot. I think that Andrea Mowry called for knitting 8 inches from the point where you separate for the sleeves. I knit 17. I do not like cropped sweaters. Andrea Mowry seems to like them to just hit like here, and she wears high-waisted pants a lot. That looks really bad on me because I'm very tiny anyway. So it just makes me look like really short and squat, I think. And because I have a large chest, it kind of is like, okay, this ends at the bottom of my chest, and that looks, I don't like that style on me. So I knit it way longer, like over twice as long as what was called for in the pattern. But I do like the pattern. It's very straightforward and easy to knit. Things are great. I did get gauge with a 5, size 5 needle. I tried a 4 first, and that was too tight of a gauge. So yeah, worked for me on a 5. So yeah, there's kind of not really much else to say about it, but I like it. I think it's going to be really cute with like jeans. I think it would be cute with a taupe skirt. I don't wear skirts a lot anymore because the like place that I work, I might have to go on the shop floor, and I need to have leg coverings and stuff for that, so I tend to not wear skirts. But in the summertime, I could. But then why would I be wearing this in the summer? Because it's really warm. It's going to be really, really warm. So anyway, there it is. The DRK Everyday Sweater, and I really love it. And I'm hoping that I can get one full sleeve done this weekend. So then in terms of finishing things, I do want to try to finish some stuff. I also want to cast on new things. So things that I want to finish. I want to finish these mittens, which are the Speedy Selbu mittens. Again, I think I read something on the chart wrong, because I got to the point where I had put all of the stitches back on the needle after you separate for the thumb, and I then couldn't follow the chart. So I think I just screwed something up there, and I need to go back and look at it and figure out what I did. Oh my god, all of my needles are just like wrapped in my yarn. Terrible. I was knitting this out of a handspun that I bought at Rhinebeck one year, so it's kind of a rainbow colored handspun. It's a gray that's plied with a rainbow colored yarn. It's bulky. And then I was using my leftovers from my Professor Meow sweater, which is like a brushed alpaca wool, and some leftovers from my sparkling cider hat. It's Full and Vine, but I don't remember the colorway. So I was kind of holding those two double just to get a very warm mitten. So you can see like the Selbu star there. So I don't have that much more to go on the first hand. I just have to figure out what I did wrong with the chart and get back to it. And I bet they'll take no time at all once I get it back on track. And those are in the Eaton project bag. By Hubble. He's just blinking his eyes at me. The other thing I want to finish this month is I made some shorty socks. These are in the leftovers from the socks that I knit for my mom. So I knit her, she had the Advent calendar skein from the Cozy Knitter from a couple of years ago. So when I went to visit her last time, I brought it home with me, and then I knit socks for her and mailed them back. But I did have a small amount left over from each skein, and I was like, it's really sad to waste that yarn. So I'm making shorty socks with it. So this is the first one, and this is taken from the second Lindsay Fowler book. She has some socks like that are hiking socks, I think, that have a ribbing on the foot, and I thought, man, that would be a really good idea, because I bet it would help keep shorty socks on your foot. And so I just added that here, and they do fit really nicely. They look super weird, but this helps cinch them onto your foot. So I just added it a little bit after, I think I finished working the gusset decreases. I did maybe like 5 rows, and then I started doing ribbing, and then I left myself with enough room to do some plain rows for like the part where your foot gets bigger on, like, you know, the part of your foot you walk on and then your toes. So that's sock number 1. I did cast on for sock number 2, and these have literally just been in a project bag ever since. But this would be the first pair of shorty socks I've ever made. So I did do the ribbing, and I did the little bit of straight part, and then I think I'm ready to start the heel. No, I have a little bit more to go, because they do perfectly match, because I left off at the same point on both, so I know that I can knit to the same point on both, which is exactly why I did it this way with these, so I can look at it by the color. and not so much by the stripes. Except for, I think I may have done a couple more plain rounds on this one than I did on the other one. Kind of looks like I did. It looks like I did one more plain round of the white. So anyway, whatever. Those are my shorty socks. I would like to finish those this month also. But we'll see how much time I have to actually knit. Especially because I want to finish that sweater. Then the other thing I want to cast on when that sweater is done, I would like to cast on a Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie Made Designs. And I want to use this as my main color and this as my contrast color. Or maybe vice versa. Anyway, this would be like the collar, the short row shaping and stuff like that. And the cuffs, and of course I'm going to get blown out now because of the snow. But anyway, this is one of the colors. This is Yugen on the ginger base, so it has sparkle. And then this is Frosted Window Panes. It's also on the ginger base. But I think those two would be really nice together. So I do want to cast that on after I finish this other sweater because, yeah, I'd like to make it. This is the Christmas colorway that Gabby made 2 years ago. One of them. She had Frosted Window Panes, 'Tis the Damn Season, and she did more Naughty or Nice. So I got a sweater's quantity of Frosted Window Panes and Naughty or Nice. I have a skein of 'Tis the Damn Season, but I got it in the sock Marie Cutie so I can make socks. So anyway, that is going to be my other sweater that I will cast on when I have time. And I think that is pretty much everything I had to share for this week. I've read a lot of good books. So in January, I think I maybe read 10 books. I should just get my reading journal. One sec. Okay. So, I don't know if I shared my reading journal. I don't know if I did or not. But I did finish it for last year, which I was really proud of myself for because this is the first year I think I've ever completely done a reading journal. So I had to go back and fix October's spread because I was reusing, so I'd kind of done something where I'd skip pages thinking I was going to go back and do the prior year stuff, and I didn't. And I didn't want to waste those pages, so I basically redid them, and only October and November had those, so I cut out a page from the back of another journal and I glued it onto here, and then I trimmed the edges. In November I did the same, but I couldn't get it to perfectly work, so I put a piece of washi tape down the center to kind of disguise my edges a little bit. It's not perfect, but whatever, it's fine for me. And then December I used this fun little postcard that my friend Disa sent me in our Advent swap a couple years ago, and I had saved it because I love the gnomes. Okay, so 2026, I've got my A to Z challenge here. It's kind of just my intro page. And then January, I read 9 books. Okay, so I was right the first time. I read the Second Breath Academy series, which was cool. It was like a necromancer magic academy. You know, it had chosen one and multiple love interests and all the stuff you'd expect of, but it's a college, so it's magic college, but for necromancers. Yeah, I liked it. And I read the If You Don't Love Me, We Both Die by C.M. Stunich. That is maybe one of the best books I've ever read, like, in my life. It was a just really beautiful book. And it was funny and sweet and, like, randomly makes you cry kind of thing. but it was just a really good book. I would highly recommend it. Then I started reading this kind of adaptation that's also by C.M. Stunich, which is about like Alice in Wonderland, but it's Alice in Underland. So Wonderland has kind of gotten screwed. Like the magic all went wackadoodle, and Allison falls into it and has to save Underland, but it's also kind of touching our world, and our world is getting more screwed up. So yeah, it was really good as well. I really like her books. I read the Witchwood Boys series last year by her, and that's how I discovered her. And I've read some of her other stuff since then. But yeah, I think my favorite book I've ever read by her is the If You Don't Love Me, We Both Die. Yeah, so I kind of made a little jam theme. So I've got this is my favorite sticker, this little jam heart toast, which is a little thing of jam. There's some warm bread sleeping and a little honey toast. So I put this here to be like butter or honey. Yeah, so then in February so far, I finished the Alice in an Underland series. I read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. That one was cute. I read that in physical form. I borrowed it from the library. Just a very normal small town romance. I started reading the Vampire Knitting Club series, so I've only read the first book so far, but I got that in a Stuff Your Kindle event, so I got it for free, and I'm now reading the subsequent ones. I then read a Trinity Matthews trilogy that starts with Between Fae and Flames, Dawn of Wings and Wrath, and Blood of the Dead and Divine. So I just finished that one, and I'm continuing a series about, I wouldn't say they're mutants, but they're like gifted people, so they're called the Cursed. So it's kind of an Alpha, Beta, Omega universe, but the betas basically took over and suppressed the alphas and the omegas and like kept them from having any of their powers, or they had their powers but they were controlled by these collars. So in the first one, they basically like broke out of the academy where they're being trained to be like soldiers and be sent into wars between kingdoms. And so this is the second book in the series called Freedom's Dawn and Mated Bonds. It's by Raven Vespo. It's a pretty good series. It's like a sci-fi futuristic series. So if you like that sort of thing, it's a good one. I would recommend it. So there's my February spread for my books. So far I've read 7 books, and we're, halfway through the month. So I'll probably read about 15 books. That's kind of where I've been averaging since I went back to work in the office. November, I only read 3 last year. But yeah, I usually am kind of filling up half my thing, so I'm putting like poems or thoughts or whatever on the right hand side of the page, which has been working out okay. Yeah, it was August that I read the Witchwood Boys series. So yeah, always happy to talk about books if anybody is interested or wants recommendations of things. I almost exclusively read romance books, but I do also read kind of sci-fi fantasy books, even if they don't have romance in them. But yeah, I tend to read romantasy, and I don't know what you would call sci-fi with romance in it. That's what I read. I'm excited for March though, because this little guy is so cute. So cute. And I put a telephone. But, yeah. I'm very happy with my decorations. I did all the way through May. May? Did I do all the way through May? Yes, I did through May, so I need to probably next month sit down and make the rest, but I'm sort of debating if I want to do something here in the middle of the year. I think maybe, well, maybe I'll do June, because that would then be a halfway point for the year. And then I was thinking, do I want to do a bookshelf at that point and maybe a challenge for the second half of the year? Because on my A to Z challenge, I feel like last year I got through most of it pretty early on in the year. So I think maybe like a bingo or something. Basically, I got all of them except for a Z. And I picked a book purely because it was a Z, and it kind of sucked, so I didn't finish it. So authors, please start some book with a Z so I can finish my A to Z challenge this year. But yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do is probably do maybe a bookshelf on one side and then some kind of other challenge on the other page in the middle of the year. Thus, I have not done all the rest of the spreads, but I should do June at least. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up because we are going to go to Costco. I have laundry I need to fold. I now have to put away all the crap that I pulled out so I could do this. And hopefully I'll get this edited before it's been like a month. Fingers crossed. But the only computer I can use to edit is the one that basically all of the family uses. So getting like time to edit things is harder. But also, since I'm just uploading it straight to YouTube, maybe it'll be fine. I don't know. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all of you. I hope that you are having a warm, cozy, safe winter, and that while the horrors persist, so do all of you. Remember to support each other, to be the best people we could be, and yeah, to not let the jerky people win. So until next time, I will see you guys later.